There's big things popping in Dallas ISD. Dallas Pinkston's 3-0. Did you hear about that?
I did.
The Vikings. Another team that's 3-0 are the Conrad Chargers, and they are 3-0 for the first time in program history. And on the phone line now, we're pleased to be joined by the head coach of the Dallas Conrad Chargers. It's Coach Josh Ragsdale. Hello, Coach.
Hey, go Chargers.
How are things in beautiful Dallas, Texas?
It's beautiful today. Weather's beautiful. We got our AM practice in this morning, so it's a whole lot more fun after a practice when you're 3-0.
Well, and you guys are 3-0 for the first time in program history. And I guess my question for you is, like, could I, just a layman, walking into that program, would I be able to sense that this is a 3-0 program? Is there a different vibe right now within the program?
Yeah, 100%. We were worried this year. We moved to first period athletics, so our kids are not used to practicing in the morning, and it was tough. Mm-hmm. We got that first win. It got a lot easier to practice. Second win, it was a whole lot easier. After 3 wins, everybody was early today. Everybody was chipper at the beginning of practice. It definitely makes for a better atmosphere.
There's so much to break down here as far as your improvement is concerned, and moving to 3-0 for the first time in program history. You guys have already matched your win total from their first 2 seasons there at each of your first 2 seasons at Conrad. From your perspective, what is the biggest difference? What is it that has you guys off to this historic start?
Prior to me being here, I really don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I was removed from Dallas ISD for a few years, so I really don't know what the reason for, the non-winning was. When I was hired on a Thursday. So my first day in the building was a Thursday. Mm-hmm. I got to meet the team on Friday, and we were leaving for spring break. And so I got to talk to them for a little bit. Hey, when we get back from spring break, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. I'm excited to get going. Off season is going to be going. And we never came back because of COVID. And so never had an off season with them. So I visited them with them for 1 day, didn't get to see them again until the beginning of the next football season. Year 2 was difficult because Dallas ISD was mainly virtual. Mm-hmm. And off season was tough again because the kids aren't at school. It's tough getting them up here for off season. This last spring was our first true off season with them. So things finally felt normal. There was some consistency. We were working out daily. They knew our expectations. They met those expectations. And so, the big thing, I think, especially going into this year, was that offseason. First 2 years without it's difficult. And I'm telling you, offseason and track, in my mind, are the 2 things that you better be doing well in order to be successful in football. And we weren't able to do those 2 things. And so we had a real good track season last year. We actually won a JV Boys District Championship in track. Varsity competed, and we had a great offseason. And our kids will tell you that's the 2 reasons why we're 3-0 right now, was our track season we had and our off season.
Josh Ragsdale, the head coach at Dallas Conrad here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation, #TF Today. Coach, one of the things that I notice is it seems like your defense is playing with its hair on fire right now. Really fantastic. Last year, you guys gave up around 26 points a game, I want to say. Something around there. 22 maybe it was. This year, through 3 games, around 9 points a game. What has been the biggest difference on the defensive side that has you guys really rolling right now?
I think, number one, me stepping away and giving the defense fully to my defensive coordinator. When we started 3 years ago, I ran the defense. It's the defense, I've run all my life and as a coordinator and hired a good young defensive coordinator to get ready to take over. About midway through last year, he took over. And this year it's been his thing, and he's better than me. He's a better coach than me. And it's been fun to sit back and watch him. His name's Coach Michael McNatt. He has the kids playing way above their level of athletic ability or their level of football ability. He has them believing and doing things that in past those kids thought they couldn't do. And so we're very sound. We're flying to the ball. We're playing great coverage. We have 3 different secondary kids with 2 interceptions each. We have a 4th kid that's got an interception. So, 7 interceptions through 3 games. They're being tested and they're winning the test. And so up front, defensive line-wise, Dietrich McElroy, who's having a breakout season. He transferred to us from Mesquite Horn last year. Got him late and so didn't get a whole lot of playing time last year because he was learning the defense. And this year He's just been a man among boys, and so he's doing a wonderful job. But yeah, I think the biggest thing is trusting that defensive coordinator and saying, "Hey, it's yours, and I don't mess anything up."
Listen, that's the name of the game sometimes. So then let's flip over to the offensive side, and it's hard not to notice what your quarterback's doing in Latavian Frost Howard. This is or Frost Harris rather. This is a guy who is just a sophomore. Was kind of thrust into the quarterback role halfway through his freshman season last year, and he has been razor sharp through the first 3 games of your season. How much have you seen him grow, and what is it about your QB1 that really sets him apart?
Number one, he's a competitor. He's one that came to us from our middle school. We knew right away that the possibility of him playing as a freshman was there. We didn't want to do it, but it became a necessity, and we did. And he stepped right in. His first varsity throw last year as a freshman was a touchdown against Spruce, and that was good for him because it showed him, hey, I can do this. And I think his best game last year, even though it was a game we didn't win, truthfully, you watch his highlight film, his last game last year, or his best game, was against South Oak Cliff, and you sit there and watch the plays that he made. Now, granted, we dropped the catches. But he got the ball where it was supposed to be. He got out of the pocket when he was supposed to. He was not scared against that Sock defense last year. And that was a big, grow-up game for him. This year, we've changed offenses. I lost my offensive coordinator. He went back to West Virginia. I think the best hire that I've probably ever made is I hired Andy Gutierrez this year from Seagoville, longtime head coach at Dallas Seagoville. We've simplified things for the quarterback, for the running backs. And if you look at our offensive production, our 2 running backs, our quarterback, and our receiver, that's probably got 85% of our offense. They're all sophomores. Mm-hmm. And so it's been neat to see them do that. It speaks volumes about our future, hopefully. But Andy's done a wonderful job in finding what we're good at. We knew going into this year, offensive line play was going to be a big question mark. Very inexperienced, where the kids we had last year started for 4 years on varsity. And Andy's done a wonderful job with that. Once again, simplifying it and just letting the quarterback be an athlete. And there's a lot of times we're mad, like, hey, you should have made that throw. But it's hard to be too mad when he tucks it and runs for 35 also. So being able to run the ball and throw the ball has been huge.
You mentioned, coming back to Dallas ISD. You got your head coaching start there at Adamson back in the earlier part of last decade. I'm interested in, and you returned to DISD there in 2020. My question for you is what brings you back to Dallas ISD? Why is Dallas ISD the right place for you?
Dallas has been home for me. I grew up in Dallas. I was a Pleasant Grove kid. Would have went to Spruce High School. My family moved when I was in high school to Forney. So I've always been that Pleasant Grove kid. I can still remember my days walking to Griff's, having a hamburger, watching Spruce play, and saying, I want to do that one day. And so when I got to Adamson, I was excited for that opportunity. I fell in love with Dallas. And just like anybody, you just wonder. I wonder what it's like outside. And I did make the change. And in hindsight, it's a good growth opportunity for me. Learned a lot. And I'm excited for Dallas to give me that opportunity. And I knew that if they gave me an opportunity to do it again, that I was going to seize it and I wasn't going to let go. So Dallas is my home. I enjoy it here. I love it here. I didn't graduate from high school in Dallas, but I still consider myself a Dallas kid. And so since I've been back, Dr. Salinas has been doing a wonderful job as our athletic director with the resources she's given. If you would have told me 6 years ago I would be at Dallas Conrad practicing on a turf field, I'd tell you were crazy. And our athletic department and our board and our superintendents have done a wonderful job really spending resources and getting the resources that we need for athletics. It's definitely noticeable if you step foot on the campus now in Dallas ISD.
So now it's on to the next one, Coach. You guys are 3-0 for the first time in program history. You can be 4-0 for the first time in program history. But it's going to take you guys taking on Samuel this week in your final non-district tune-up. I'm not going to ask you to give away your game plan here on the air, but when you take a look at what you're up against with Samuel, what are you guys going to see this coming up this week against the Spartans?
We're going to see athletes. We're going to see guys, across the field that run well and that play hard. Coach Pierce has been there for a long time, and Coach Pierce's standard has not changed. That they do get after it. Special teams, they get after it. But we do too. And so that's the neat part is our kids for the first time in a while, are walking around with a little bit of, get up in their step thinking, okay, we can play with these guys. And that's the thing about our young guys. You give them a little confidence, there's no telling what they can do. And our kids are positive. But at the same time, the thing I've been most proud about them is we talk about we fear nobody, but we respect everybody. And our guys do respect Samuel. We've seen them play very well against a Poly team this year that they beat up on. Mm-hmm. And then we've seen them play not so well against another team. And we're going to treat them like the team we saw against Poly. And we're going to respect that. And our kids are ready for the challenge. We talk every week, want to know. And I know it's cliche for a coach to say that, but our kids have really bought into that. I screwed up this morning. I said something about being 3-0, and they corrected me real quick. No, coach, we're not. We're 1-0. And then one of them corrected him, said, no, we're 0-0. We're trying to go 1-0. So, they got to correct the coaches sometimes too. But it's the team that we're about to play. Samuel can if they get things going together, they could be pretty good. And so we're hoping that they wait another week to do that. We're hoping for this week that we're able to take advantage of some of the mistakes they've been making. And I know Coach Pierce knows us. And so he's going to find out every mistake we made because that's what he's good at. And he's going to try to exploit that. So we've got to do a good job of coaching this week.
He's Josh Ragsdale. He's the first man in history to take Dallas Conrad to 3-0. He's the second winningest coach in Conrad history. Coach, appreciate your time. Please tell Mrs. Ragsdale that we said hello. And and go get it after him this week.
Thank you so much, guys.
There he goes. Josh Ragsdale, head coach of the Dallas Conrad Chargers here in Texas football today. This is for me, what we just did there. That is, if you were to ask me what is the ethos of our show, what is the purpose of our show, it is to spotlight stories like that.
Oh, yeah.
Where they're 3-0 for the first time ever. And look, am I picking Dallas Conrad to win the state championship?
Absolutely not.
No. Not at this moment. Prove me wrong. But what I would say is, that is what they've done there is such a victory and such an accomplishment. And they deserve to be celebrated. Yeah, and I think that's a great opportunity.
The kids are excited to go to practice now. They've got a pep in their step.
Yes.
That's the coolest thing that you can ask for.
Absolutely. So we appreciate. And by the way, he mentioned it. Steve Pierce is an OG at Samuel. He's been there a long time. I think I'm going to pick Conrad this week.
I like it.
So there you go. And then they open district with Wilson. If you really want to send a state, go beat Woodrow. Anyway, appreciate Josh Ragsdale hopping on with us.